Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is on the importance of temperature in baking. You may well have noticed that many recipes, particularly for cakes, state to use ingredients at room temperature. But why is this? And if we don't follow the rules, does it really make much of a difference? I am going to talk to you all about the role that temperature plays in baking and how altering it can affect the final result. Firstly, ingredients at room temperature blend together much more easily. Take for example butter. If you have ever tried to beaten it when cold, you probably would have had a pretty hard time and it probably remained as a solid block. However, warm it to the correct temperature and it can be easily beaten and whipped until light and fluffy. This is particularly important for cakes made via the creaming method and buttercream, etc. Anything in which beating is required. Eggs should also be added at room temperature because in the case of cakes, cold eggs could shock the mixture, causing it to curdle. I already made a video on what causes a cake to curdle if you want to go and check that out. Adding cold eggs might solidify the fat and you'll just end up with a lumpy batter, which is not ideal. If the cake mixture itself is too cold before entering the oven, it will take longer to warm up, delaying the chemical reactions, and so it might not have enough time to rise before the structure sets. Another example which illustrates the importance of using eggs at room temperature is when making custard. If cold egg yolks are added directly to hot milk, the mixture would curdle and split because there is a large temperature difference between both ingredients. What we can do to prevent this is add a small amount of the hot milk to the egg yolks, which gently warms and dilutes them before adding to the remaining milk. This process is called tempering. A further piece of information worth noting about eggs is that they contain proteins which have the ability to trap air when beaten. These proteins work most effectively when slightly warmer. So, for example, when making meringue, it is best not to use egg whites that have come straight from the fridge, as they will whisk into a foam much more easily if they are at room temperature. What about dairy ingredients such as milk and sour cream? Generally, the same principle applies. If we add, say, cold milk to a batter, this could shock the other ingredients. If everything is at a similar temperature, it will blend together much more easily into a smooth, homogeneous mixture. Sour cream and cream cheese, if used cold, could cause a mixture to turn lumpy, for example when making cheesecakes or icings. To prevent this, we can leave them out on the side for 1 to 2 hours before using in our recipe. Some recipes do state for an ingredient to be added cold, such as butter when used in pastry. Butter generally needs to be kept within quite a narrow temperature range, so 18 to 21 degrees. If it is too cold, it's very difficult to work with and will remain as a solid block. Too warm and it can easily melt. Many ingredients change properties with temperature and butter is one of them. We normally use cold butter in products such as pastries and scones because this prevents it from melting before baking. When these products do enter the oven, the fat therefore melts at the perfect time, releasing steam into air pockets which raise the dough, resulting in a light, flaky texture. If the fat is too warm, it will incorporate too fully into the dough, which could produce a slightly tougher texture. For pastry and biscuit dough, the recipe often states to chill the dough before using. This slows gluten development and makes it much more easier to handle and shape. The dough also holds its shape better when in the oven. If I'm ever making shaped biscuits or pastries, I will always chill the dough for a second time after I've moulded to help with this. When it comes to bread making and yeast raised products, temperature is important because yeast is most active at around 24 to 29 degrees centigrade. If the ingredients are too cold, the yeast won't activate, resulting in a poorly risen product. And if it is too warm, above 49 degrees centigrade, this could kill the yeast, stopping the fermentation process altogether. So to conclude this video, temperature control is important in baking because it affects how the individual ingredients behave, the chemical processes involved, and the end product. By carefully controlling the temperature and conditions, this can help ensure the results we desire. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the comments below and I will happily answer them if I can. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!